What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith. And folks, this is probably one of the biggest interviews I've ever had on the show. This is somebody that, as I was telling him before the interview, growing up, my dad would always talk about Richmond Webb. The O-line that Dan Marino had, and you can't talk Miami Dolphins without speaking of hopefully future Hall of Famer, Mr. Richmond Webb, which I have on the show with us here today. Mr. Webb, how are you today, sir?
Hey, Doug, how you doing? Good. Thanks for having me on your show. Glad to be here. How you doing?
Doing very well. This is it's a pleasure to be here. And in this episode, we're gonna take and get into a little bit of your story, and then also the Dolphins. They're in a interesting state right now.
A lot of stuff going on. You're right. It's very interesting. You're right. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. Some breaking news today, though. I found out that Mike Goseki is getting franchise tagged. Very exciting. Mr. Webb, where do you think Mike Goseki fits in to to this new offense that he's going to be a part of?
Well, it seemed like the fan base is really excited about the new head coach, Coach McDaniel, and I think he fits perfectly coming from San Francisco. And I think where we were really missing was developing the offensive game and really opening it up. Offensively, defensively, we kind of set the foundation. We had probably one of the top 10 defenses around the NFL. But if we can kind of just match that on the offensive side, I think that's what Coach McDaniel is going to bring. He's excited to work with certain players. And I think, from kind of researching and stuff, he's real huge as far as developmental, getting the developmental part of the players, like two of the young guys, this and that, and really focusing on what they do extremely well and making them become the best players that they can be. So I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, it's exciting, and as far as his personality goes, it's amazing. I mean, he's spontaneous in his interviews. I saw he high-fived Rich Eisen randomly in the interview. It's definitely a soundbite machine for sure, and he loves math. So, but of course, all that stuff aside, I mean, he has a plethora of experience, and I think that's something that Miami is really gonna truly benefit from for sure. Obviously, the O-line has been a major issue, not just for Tua, but also for the Miami Dolphins. It's tough to get a run game going. It's tough for a quarterback to stay confident. There's just a lot of issues. What do you think are the top priorities as far as our O-line goes in this year's 2022 NFL draft?
I definitely say probably at least, maybe two guys. Definitely, I say an offensive tackle. Maybe an offensive tackle or maybe a guard or two tackles. But you definitely got to shore up one side of the offensive line, and then you can kind of slide protect to the others or give some of the younger guys a chance to continue to develop. But I definitely think you got to shore up. But when you can't have consistency on one side or the other, it makes it tough, especially for a young quarterback, for him to be comfortable in the pocket and stuff like that. And also to develop some type of consistency in the running game. So I say a tackle guard or maybe, at least two guys out of free agency that I think they're going to address and try to short it up. And the good thing is we have a lot of room, a lot of money up under the cap. So if we might get lucky, hit two or three guys, I don't know, but, that's definitely where everything starts up front, offensive line, defensive line. So if we can shore that up, I think that'll continue to keep the fan base excited and say, hey, we're really trying to go in the right direction and try to get over the hump and make the playoffs. And I think that's what everybody's looking for and want to see, because we're truly not that far away. We just got to make a couple of adjustments and we should be there.
Absolutely. And then obviously there's a lot of, I talk with Dolphins fans all the time, usually when I market these videos, I go to Facebook, so I'm right there, I get a lot of feedback on my episodes and stuff. But one thing I've noticed that a lot of Dolphin fans are butting heads. Do we build in the draft this O-line, or do we build in the free agency, or maybe it's kind of a mix of the two? What are your thoughts?
I think we can do a mix, but I definitely think we need to go out and get some guys with some experience. I think we've experimented a couple years with the draft, and sometimes you can draft a guy and he comes in and able to pick up the system and gravitate and grasp it quicker than others. But I think the thing with the Dolphins, why some of us they struggle, they have so many young guys that's not used to playing with each other. Where if you bring in a veteran presence, that guy can help that guy, learn how to watch film, communicate when it gets tough. You're on the road, the crowd noise and stuff, settle everybody down and keep everybody focused. So I think definitely we need to address that through free agency. We can add through the draft, but we definitely get some guys in free agency.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of good players. I mean, you have Armstead from, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Armstead from the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
He's thoroughbred baller, locker room leader, big personality. So, you have guys like that on the team can make a huge difference, I know people bring up the injuries and stuff, but there's other good O-linemen for sure. Now, do you feel that this year's draft is pretty deep in the O-line position? Do you think we can maybe get, some steals perhaps in the 4th and 3rd round?
I think you can always get steals. I had to really start studying the draft players. I know I watched a little bit of the combine this weekend, and I was really impressed. I watched him during the season, but Davis, the kid out of Georgia, the defensive lineman, for him to be, 6'6", 340 and run 4.78, and
that's a slow receiver.
That's freakish, bro. That you just get every day. So
yeah,
if it matches up with the way how explosive and the type of player he was throughout, his career at Georgia, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's the first player off the board. But I hadn't really got into deep study. I kind of like let everybody else do that, and then they kind of tell me who they are. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. Free agency starts, maybe in a week or two, and then the draft is April. So it's starting to ramp up. I was even watching ESPN today and saw Russell Wilson got traded from Seattle to
Bronco.
And I was like, I never would have thought that happened, but that was a huge surprise. So that kind of like blew up Twitter and ESPN and stuff. So I'm going to start watching a little bit more now. But breaking news like that comes out, it's always, everything just kind of explodes.
Yeah, my co-host, shout out to Mike Williams. He's actually a Broncos fan, actually. Okay. And as soon as that happened, oh, what was that?
He's a happy man right now.
Oh, he's so happy. I know he wanted Noah Fant, and I don't blame him. Noah Fant is a phenomenal talent, but man, you got Russell Wilson as a Denver Bronco. Like, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
He's proven Super Bowl quarterback, and you got Judy, got some young receivers, which I'm sure they're happy. Yeah. Decent defenses and that, and AFC West been pretty tough, so that takes a lot of pressure off of like Elway and stuff, being able to bring a guy in like that, and kind of like when they did Peyton Manning, they brought them in. If you can't find it through the draft, you go get it through free agency or trade for them and this and that, and that's what they were able to work out. And I think it's a win. It's definitely a win for Denver. I can definitely see that. So, like I said, that was shocking to me. I didn't think that would happen.
Yeah, no, it's the Broncos. They're I told my buddy, I don't know the Super Bowl competitors, but they're in the conversation for sure. They have some pieces to fix, right? D-line and you need like a linebacker in there and stuff, but yeah, it's some ballers for sure and stuff. So obviously with this O-line, we're definitely expecting Tua. He just has a lot more support, and I don't know if I'll ever be over the firing of Coach Flo. I feel like someone physically assaulted me that day. I've never cussed on this show. I'm a follower of Christ, but man, I was cutting up a storm. Mr. Ross, I'm not going to repeat it. We're a PG show, sometimes PG-13, but I had some choice words to say. I did.
Well, that one there, it just caught everybody off guard. I think the things is for him to completely rebuild the team, and then after 3 seasons, have 2 winning seasons, and we were a game away, pretty much from making the playoffs. So I think the defense, like I said, he really built it, and I had high, aspirations or expectations, and thought we were heading headed in the right direction. I'm on my way to Dallas, and I get a phone call, and somebody tells me, and I kind of reacted like you did because it was just, it was just unexpected news, and and then the allegations come out, which at the time that wasn't good for the Dolphin organization. They're still working through that, but I was happy to see he was actually able to get a job with Pittsburgh and move on and continue to do what he loves to do. So the good thing is it kind of died down. We got a new coach, and it seemed like everybody's excited. So I'm not saying it swept under the rug, but it kind of shifted the focus once we hired the new coach and the excitement and stuff he's bringing in. So, but I wish Coach Flores nothing but the best. I really appreciated what he did for the organization because he really changed the culture or the mindset. And even, last year, going like 1-7 and then going on that streak to win, because typically you lose that many games.
That's it.
You lose the locker room, people just shut it down, and people continue to buy in. So that showed a lot that, a lot of players respect him or whatever about him, what he was trying to do for them to make that type of turnaround.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I hope all gets sorted out at the end of the day. Obviously, as a Dolphin fan, like we were kind of clean cut for the last 2 years, right? There's no coaches banging hookers, no players with racial, no players with racial outbursts and crap like that. I mean, we was like, hey, we're becoming a wholesome team.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I don't know if you remember the Bengals game, not last season, but the season before. I think it was rookie year not rookie, excuse me. His first year as a coach with us. He tried to fight the sideline. I'm like, I love this.
Yeah, I was like, that there. I was like, man, he went out there. I was like, yeah, I remember I was watching that game. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, it's on now. I was like, yeah. So, I think everybody could appreciate that because, you do a cheap shot, but then you come down and cheap shot a guy again. I was like, man, come on now. Same guy. I was like, come on, that ain't cool.
Yeah, so. It's a gladiator sport. Like, I never went pro. Obviously, you were, but I did do a year of college ball, and it's a gladiator sport. It's a gladiator. I mean, you could go out there and legit die. You know what I mean? Or have an injury hurt you for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see these stories all the time, and even like players. I hate to say it's predominantly high school. We see this player claps on the field. You know what I mean? Just crazy shenanigans like that happen. So, we got safety is very, very important for sure. Now, obviously, you played for the Bengals for 2 years. It was. What are your thoughts on the Bengals O-line? I mean, wow, they held it together. I would definitely say there's some notches above the Miami Dolphins O-line as far as like talent goes. Took it all the way to a Super Bowl. And obviously, Joe Burrow is a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, his story is really just now being told in beginning, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on their O-line? How many pieces of the puzzle you think should be added or taken away?
Definitely got to be added. I think was it maybe the Tennessee game? He got sacked like 9 times, and he went in the Super Bowl. The Rams got after him, which is expected. Von Miller, my man. Aaron Donald, so when you got a guy that, you got Chase, you got receivers and stuff he can get the ball to, but was it last year he tore his knee up? And not the year before he tore his knee up. And if you got a franchise quarterback, you just got to protect him. And I think they got that piece of the puzzle. They got some young guys and the defense stepped up. So for them to turn around, not only make it to the playoffs, but to go all the way to the Super Bowl, that was good for their fan base, and they got some great fans up there and stuff. So I'm sure they're going to be looking to address that as well, because the main thing you want to do is keep that guy healthy. You got to keep the quarterback healthy, and he took some hits. I think maybe in the Super Bowl he took one that was kind of like, man, I don't know if he gonna get up. And I'm like, you don't want to keep seeing that. So. I'm sure they definitely going to address that as well.
Oh yeah, I definitely hope so. I mean, you definitely don't need you look at Andrew Luck and towards the end of his career, and I don't blame him. I probably would have left sooner. He just had enough, and it was like an abusive relationship. When are you gonna stop beating me? You gonna treat me better? That's how it was with Andrew Luck. It's just So hopefully we don't have a situation where a legend or future legend at that retires prematurely, kind of thing.
And speaking of that, Doug, I think it's Aaron Donald. He's thinking about possibly retire. I've heard mentions that I hope he doesn't. To win the Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, and the way he plays at a high level. I mean, he has still tremendous upside, but I think he was possibly considering, retirement as well. So, you look at that, and when you have players with that type of talent and what they bring to the game of football and stuff, you don't want to see them retire early. I mean, I understand everybody's decision, but yeah, if you can avoid it, because it's good for the fans. Good. I mean, you got to do what's best for you, but
Yeah.
You just don't want to see guys leave early, especially because of injury and stuff like that. But sometimes guys make that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things. I know for me personally, selfishly, and I say it's very selfishly, I'm like, I want these guys to play forever. Like, keep going, But at the end of the day, it's their body, and people got to do what's best for them, kind of thing. But yeah, I know the verdict is out on Aaron Donald, right? Because I know they want to keep Von Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Von Miller could be going back to Denver now, rumors are saying, right? So Von Miller, he plays a big role in this, right? So but yeah, if they could maintain predominantly most of their roster, if they don't trade away no more draft picks, yeah, the Rams could definitely be making some noise for sure in the next year, for sure.
That's true. Yeah, they got a good team. Yeah, and
yeah.
Even their coach was. I even thought of mentioned, and he's so young. He's talking about, I don't know if that's part of hopefully contract negotiations, but I was like, man, just Coach McVay, you've had success. You just won the Super Bowl, and I don't know, but it could. I can understand, because it can be a grind, the sacrifice you got to make, the long hours. If you got a family, you can't spend the time. So I get it, and but like you said, you just hate to see it when. It's a selfish part of you. So I understand that side, but I understand being selfish too, because I'm a fan now. But you hear news like that, and you're like, "Oh no, man, you can't shut it down yet."
Run it back. That's the first thing they say. Run it back, and there hasn't been a team running back in a long time. Talk about that window to not only get to Super Bowl, yet alone win it, is very small. So. It's NFL's become more and more of a competitive place. Speaking of, I look at teams like the Bengals. I think the Miami Dolphins, right? Because hey, our defense is pretty much together. We can add an extra cornerback and also maybe an extra linebacker, but I mean, we're pretty much complete, predominantly speaking. We kept Josh Boyer. We just got to work it out on offense. And we do that. I mean, we're an 11-12 team. So 12-win team, and Tua, he has a high accuracy. That's a lot of people. And there's some parts of his game where I was like, oh, he was running the ball and he would throw it at the ground. And I'm like, dude, no, the guy wasn't even near you. But yeah, there's a few times I'm like, Tua, man, what are you doing? And Twitter just bowl of oatmeal, man. They're just eating it up, man. I knew he sucked. But I, in my humble opinion, I see a lot more good than bad, with Tua, just got to build around him, get him the support and stuff. But Mr. Webb, I wanted to ask you, you've played in an era in the NFL where you went up against some of the Bruce Smiths of the game, right? The Reggie Whites. In your opinion, and those, it could be one player, it could be 10 players, 3 players. What are some players, probably some of the toughest defensive competition that you have went up against?
Yeah, Bruce Smith probably would be the toughest guy that I had to play. With him being in Buffalo and I was in Miami, it was definitely twice a year, and at times it was 3 times a year, because we both go to the playoffs, and some kind of way we get linked up playing, again. So seeing that guy, 2-3 times a year, he was the toughest guy. But I played against probably most of all of the, Chris Doleman, Derek Thomas, Lawrence Taylor, Pat Swilling. You name it, you can go down the list. Who's list? Richard Dent. You name it, pretty much. I done just about faced them. So, but as far as the amount of repetitions or the times I played him, Bruce Smith was the toughest guy that I had to go against.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And he seemed like, you watched him in interview, he seemed like a pretty nice guy. Was there any smack talk, or was it just friendly banter, or what were the conversations like that?
most of the time it wasn't really too much trash talk. I think um, we just knew it was going to be 60 minutes of hell. You know, we battled. I think he respected my game. I definitely respected his, and
Yeah.
you know, it was always it wasn't no love lost between the Dolphins and the Bills. So you know, I walked into that rivalry, and then I grabbed one of the old media guides and started. I was like, you know, why do they hate us so much? This and that. And then I think I looked during the '70s, the Dolphins beat them like 20 times in a row, and I was like, say no more. I got it now. So um, uh, I got it now. So I'm like, okay, it's on. So let's just buckle your chin strap because it's going to be going down on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look what happened with the Bills, was it 4 Super Bowls in a row? I mean, oh, I think of like my worst games and they don't compete to that, so they're a hungry bunch up there in Buffalo for sure.
Hungry bunch, and they've kind of got back. You know, they look like the team to beat in the East. So,
Yeah.
um, and they lost their offense coordinator. He's the head coach of the Giants. So, we're nipping at their heels, and I like the direction we're headed, and I think we can overcome them and win the East, and that's a big part of advancing in the playoffs, winning the division. You know, you got to set goals and stuff like that. So I'm definitely excited. So it looked like it's going to be a kind of renewal of the old rivalry. So been definitely looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I remember. I mean, I'm 33. I started watching football around like 97 a little bit, mostly like 98 going forward.
Okay.
So Bills wasn't really, they had a few good teams, but they weren't really all that. I was like, it's mostly the Patriots now are the problem, right?
Yeah,
Now the Patriots, I wouldn't say they're fading out because they're still very competitive, right? Those are some very talented team, well coached, well drafted, well scouted, all that shenanigans. I hate giving them props, but it is what it is. But then of course you have the Bills, and the Bills are the big bad Bills. You know what I mean? These will stampede on you. So yeah, we gotta get some offense going for sure.
no question. Yeah, I think it was kind of like that when I got there, got in the league, was that I think one of the reasons the Patriots were so dominant, they had great teams, but everybody in the East, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, we just had crappy teams a lot of the times. But, they built that. And like you said, Coach Belichick, they're not exactly where they were, but they're not far off. So I think it's going to be a lot more parity in the East, a lot tougher to win it. So definitely the New England, the Dolphins, and the Bills. I think they've all came up and kind of it'll be between those three. I think the Jets still got some work to do, but that's what I see right now.
They may mess around and be the New Jersey Jets. I heard there's some issues with the name. The state of New York doesn't want them claiming the name, even though they're in New Jersey. I'm like, so we may call them the Jersey Jets, or maybe ship them to London and take them out the NFL because they don't matter. I'll take that too. I'll take that one actually.
The funny thing about it, the stadium is in Jersey that they play in. So I'm like, why you got an issue with the Jets, but you don't have one with the Giants? But I get it, man. Just I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, to finish off the show, I want to talk about your platform. I know you have a podcast about Texas A&M.
Yeah, did one during the season with a former teammate of mine, Robert Wilson. Actually, I had two, and that was Gig 'em Guys with Miami Ties, but also one with my man Reason and Ball Game, and that's Finside the NFL, and kind of a Dolphin podcast, and I kind of chime in, but Reason kind of host, and me and Ball Game kind of give views. I give views from the offensive side, and then Ball Game from the defensive side, and then Reason he ties everything together. So that's a hard working man. But yeah, I'm on that podcast as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And where can people go to take and find it?
It's you can go on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Richmond Webb. Reason is at _real_reason. You follow him, and you'll see. I think it's Finside the NFL. You spell it PHINSIDED NFL. So not F, but with PH. So yeah, you can find it on there.
Awesome. And folks, for all y'all listening, I'm gonna make sure I have all that information down below in the description. Before you even subscribe, like, comment on my stuff. Hope you like it. I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Hope you like it though, because Mr. Richmond Webb is here. But go down below, check his stuff out first. I've watched actually 2 episodes. It's a really, really great show. They have a really, really great chemistry, and it's cool. You get to see a different perspective. You have a guy who came from Texas, Texas A&M to be exact, play for Miami, and then also finish off his career with the Bengals. He's had quite a journey. So plethora of knowledge. I promise you won't be disappointed. It's a great show.
Yeah, check us out, and thanks for that plug, and definitely looking forward to it. But man, it's been a blast being on your show, and I really appreciate you having me on, and it was fun. It went quicker than what I thought, but yeah, it's been a blast. So
hey, we got 4 hours left. No, I'm kidding. I'm good. But no, thank you so much, Mr. Webb, for coming on the show. I hope you have a wonderful day. And for all y'all, comment below. Let us know what you think about the 2022 NFL Dolphins. Chop it up with us. We'll make sure to talk to y'all down below in the comment section. Have a good night. Be blessed. And fins up.
Fins up.
Turn 100 for the touchdown, King Crown, gain inside, leading your town, hit you faster than the sound, bad boy, throw it down, yeah, I'm ill, not my will, don't cop a fill the house, listen to the roaring crowd, drop a like, calm it down, Heisman, all the haters mouth, superhero hit them, wow, packing more action than bing, boom, bam, pow, touchdown for the win, we live, subscribe right now.